Thor, son of Odin.
Surtur, son of a bitch, you're still alive. Because I've been having these terrible dreams of late. Asgard up in flames, falling to ruins, and you, Surtur, are at the center of all of them.
Then you have seen Ragnarok. You cannot stop it.
Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't time that right.
Now.
Hey guys, what is up? Nihat here with Film Comics Explained, and today we'll be taking a look at Surtur, who is prophesied to be the bringer of Ragnarok, the end of Asgard, in the incredible third installment of the Thor series, which was directed by Taika Waititi, and featured some incredible talent including Chris Hemsworth, Tom Hiddleston, Cate Blanchett, Idris Elba, Jeff Goldblum, Mark Ruffalo, and Tessa Thompson, among many more. Now, Surtur was essentially a giant fire demon and the ruler of Muspelheim, which is one of the 9 realms. He was cold, emotionless, and appeared to be very serious with a no-nonsense approach, as shown with his irritation at Thor, who refused to take him seriously during their first encounter. He was in essence the ultimate personification of destruction, and was extremely confident that Asgard had to be destroyed, and that he was the only one that could ensure it did. Surtur was so committed to his destiny to destroy the realm that when he was finally resurrected, he didn't even take the time to realize that there was nobody left on Asgard. And so determined was he in the belief that the destruction of Asgard was his birthright, that he was willing to forsake his own life to ensure that it happened. Surtur was one of the most powerful beings in the 9 realms, and as a fire giant, he was able to generate massive waves of fire from his Twilight Sword, which would engulf its targets in powerful flames. His original powers were already great enough to match Thor, and it should be noted that during his first encounter with Odin's son, he was in an extremely weakened state, and upon being resurrected by the Eternal Flame, Surtur's powers were immeasurably increased to the point that he effortlessly swatted away a leaping Hulk as if he were a fly, and was able to destroy both Hela and Asgard within moments of being resurrected. For countless millennia, Asgardian culture had foretold of an event that would bring about the destruction of their home world. Known as Ragnarok, the event was set to take place when the fire demon Surtur, empowered by the Eternal Flame, would unleash his rage upon Asgard and consume it with fire. In an attempt to prevent the fateful prophecy from being fulfilled, Odin defeated Surtur and took away his source of power, the Eternal Flame, which he kept locked in his vault beneath the palace, among other treasures and powerful artifacts. Surtur was left without much of his powers, and was scarred with injuries to his arm and leg from his previous battle with Odin. Exiled on Muspelheim, Surtur waited patiently over a millennia, planning his revenge on both Odin and Asgard. 2 years after the Battle of Sokovia on Earth, which left the Avengers divided, Thor had unsuccessfully set out in search of the Infinity Stones, and had instead wound up as a prisoner of Surtur the Fire Demon, who explained that now that his father Odin was no longer on Asgard, the realm would soon be destroyed. Up against a weakened Surtur, and not fully aware of his actions, Thor defeated him and claimed his crown, thinking that he had rightfully prevented the end of Asgard. Thor and Loki then went in search of their father, whom they eventually found on Earth, and it's here that Odin revealed that Ragnarok was inevitable, confessing that there was another evil that was coming for Asgard, whom he called Hela, the goddess of death, and who had also been his firstborn child. Odin explained that her appetite for violence was so great that he felt he had no choice but to imprison her. Hela also drew her power from Asgard itself, which meant that once Odin had passed, she would be free, and the longer she stayed in Asgard, the stronger she would be, eventually reaching limitless power that could not be contained. After his passing, Hela confronts both Thor and Loki, destroying Thor's hammer with one hand, before returning to Asgard and single-handedly laying waste to its entire army. Sometime later, when Thor came back to reclaim his throne, he found it too difficult a task to defeat her alone. With the surviving Asgardians loaded onto a lifeboat, and the desperation of the situation at hand, Thor and Loki were eventually left with no choice but to resurrect Surtur, by placing his crown on the Eternal Flame and restoring him to his full power. Surtur then erupted from Asgard moments later, laying waste to the empty city around him with his sword, and just as it had been foretold in the prophecy, Surtur then thrust his sword into the heart of Asgard, destroying himself, Hela, and Asgard in the process. A pleasant departure from the serious nature of the first 2 films that lacked the humour consistent with the rest of the MCU, Thor Ragnarok is a refreshingly bold spectacle of action, adventure and comedy, leading us into the upcoming Avengers Infinity War with much anticipation. Well, that's all for today folks. Thanks to all of you guys who suggested we take a look at Thor Ragnarok. If there's any other content you would like me to check out, please don't hesitate to ask. As always, it's been a pleasure. Nihat here with Film Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.
With the eternal flame, you are reborn.
You can't defeat me.
No, I know. But he can.
But we need to let him finish the job, otherwise... No. Hulk, stop, you moron!
Hulk, stop! Just for once in your life, don't smash!
Big monster!